the leftism, just a little. Ms. Turr was simply following orders. As for Nancy Pelosi, well, she answers to no one. Her hatred of Trump keeps her blood flowing. To say Nancy Pelosi has not lost it is akin to believing that Donald Trump is a Bible salesman. Wait, that might not be the best analogy. Back after this. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom lovers. Kenny Williams, how are you, baby?
Morning, Vic. Real good. Real good.
Boy, you put together a heck of a show here today, Ken. Let's let everybody know what's coming up. Senator Bob Onder is going to start us off today. As a Right to Life march starts, we're going to be right at the beginning of the march with Bob Onder. He's coming up in just a sec. The Bee or Not the Bee, our very own, we can still call him our very own, can't we, Paul Curtman?
Oh, absolutely.
He's always going to be.
So we have him on once a month.
The Bee or Not the Bee with him. We'll get his take on some of the things that are happening in the world. Stefan Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research and the Free Enterprise Project. Levi Strauss, Pfizer, Goldman Sachs, and Cigna face challenges from conservative shareholders. Let's not forget, there are some conservative shareholders.
There are, yeah.
And we have to listen to them, too. And we certainly give the left enough attention. Second hour starts off with the director of the Freedom Caucus, former Speaker of the House, our very own Tim Jones, at 10:05, and then 10:41. We're going to talk to Joe Brazel from the St. Charles County Council. Let's find out what's going on up there.
Yeah.
All right, Bob Onder, Senator from Missouri and running actually for U.S. Representative. We'll talk about that in a minute. Senator Onder, good morning. Would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Good morning. I'd love to.
Go right ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic. Well done. All right. First of all, thanks for being with us, and thanks for calling us on such a day when, a Right to Life march is happening. We hear about all the other crap and all the protests and everything else. Good to see a good, wholesome Right to Life march. And when does that start?
Well, it starts just within the hour. I think there's some speeches right now. There's some music. And then we'll be marching in, just about a half hour. And I think this is really an especially important day for pro-lifers to be here in the Missouri Capitol, because as Tim Jones will tell you when he's on, this is a critical time for the pro-life movement in the state of Missouri. For 50 years, pro-lifers have made gains in protecting innocent human life and protecting the health and safety of women and giving women alternatives to choose life for their unborn children. And we could lose it all this November, the vote on a pro-abortion constitutional amendment. Your listeners, I'm sure, are all familiar with this signature gathers and their pro-abortion constitutional amendment. What the Missouri Senate can do, they could do it today, they could do it this hour, if they had the political will, is pass an initiative petition, reform, to protect our Constitution, to protect innocent human life, and to really ensure election integrity. But so far, Senate leadership, Caleb Rowden and Cindy O'Laughlin, are refusing to do that. Instead, they're making Senate conservatives, the Freedom Caucus, stand stand up and trying to run them over. So it is a dangerous time in our history, but at the same time, a chance for opportunity.
You know, this initiative petition reform that you guys are working on, it's so important because when you just mentioned the people that are gathering signatures for petitions, they don't say, hey, want to sign this petition to make abortion, legal? They say, oh, women's productive health, and you know what I mean? Like that's right, Vic. They lie. They basically imply that women won't get good care of miscarriages if this isn't signed. They imply that fertility treatments will be outlawed if you don't sign. Look, pro-life OBGYNs have been taking care of women with troubled pregnancies, with miscarriages for decades or centuries without performing abortion. Abortion is not health care. Abortion is killing innocent human life. And if we want to protect our Constitution, if we want to prevent every single pro-life law we've passed in the last 50 years from being overturned, the Missouri Senate needs to take one more vote to send initiative petition reform to the voters. So I'd encourage all your listeners to call Cindy O'Loughlin, to call Caleb Rowden, to call Mary Elizabeth Coleman, who's the sponsor of the bill. Tell them to pass initiative petition reform. Pass it now. Don't they're on some bill that doesn't need to be passed until September. Protecting life, protecting our Constitution is far more important. So your listeners can find those phone numbers, that contact information at senate.mo.gov online. There's so many other things I want to talk to you about, Senator Onder, but I do want to throw this in here that, the Republicans who don't seem to be conservatives in the Missouri legislature, Cindy O'Loughlin, Caleb Rowden, I don't like also the deceit of them trying to make Tim Jones, Nick Schroer, you the bad guys in all this. I don't like that. That's right. Yeah, and I at present am not in the Senate. I was a member of the Senate Conservative Caucus. I'm an honorary member of the Senate Freedom Caucus. No, we're not the bad guys. We are standing for the number one Republican priority in our state right now, which is initiative petition reform, protecting our Constitution, ensuring election integrity. But that's why I'm running for Congress, because this is what happens if principled conservative leaders don't stand up. My main opponent, is a lobbyist. He is a lobbyist who was pro-choice, was pro-embryonic stem cell research. He's pro-boys, girls in the Boy Scouts, and he described himself as a moderate to liberal Republican. Do you think a guy like that, a lobbyist, is going to go to D.C. and stand up to the swamp? So if you can't stand up to the Jeff City swamp the way the Freedom Caucus, Rick Brad and Bill Eigel and others are right now, you'll never stand up to the Washington, D.C. swamp. All right. Let's talk about some other stuff that is right in front of our faces, all these protests on college campuses. Last night, got to give credit to the NYPD. They breached Hamilton Hall. They got him out. They cleared it. But just the whole thing about these kids out there protesting, and the way I word it, Senator Onder, is they don't even know what they're woohooing about. I don't want to get into the whole story, but they don't even know why they're there. They don't even understand the purpose, the cause, who's on what side and who's on the other side.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. A lot of them are clueless, but a lot of them have bought into this Marxist analysis of the idea that the America is the great Satan, that Israel is the little Satan. They hate America, and they have no sympathy for the Israelis who were murdered, raped, kidnapped, mutilated on October 7th. They have no sympathy whatsoever, because it's about revolution. It's about revolution, and Stalin said, "Well, you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet." Well, I'm afraid that too many of the protesters are as bloodthirsty as the Hamas terrorists that have terrorized the Israelis for decades. But you're right; a lot of them don't have a clue. But the bottom line is they have to follow the rules of their college. They have to follow the law. Look, Ronald Reagan, when he was governor of California, knew how to deal with the protesters at University of California, Berkeley. The question, Ronald Reagan said, Are they in charge of the university, or are we? And I would add to that, of course, the New York City Police are, do these these college students have to avoid, can they avoid laws on trespass, on vagrancy, defacing property, or do they have to obey the law like everyone else? So I think the New York City Police did the right thing. I think for once, Washington University did the right thing by cleaning up their problem on campus.
Well, SLU's got a problem because it's all going to move over to SLU tonight.
Oh, I'm sure it will. SLU has disappointed me more and more over the years. I was an alumnus of SLU Law School, but they just had Dylan Mulvaney, the transgender fanatic, as a speaker. They probably paid him $10,000-$20,000 speaking fee. Does that embody the Christian Catholic values of St. Louis University? Someone ought to be fired, and it's really pathetic.
And this hatred for Israel, I just don't understand. There are always attacks on either Jewish people or Israel itself, always unprovoked, right?
Yeah, that's right.
1972 Munich Olympics. They killed the entire Israeli team. Let's not forget that Iraq was throwing Scud missiles into Israel, right, during the Persian Gulf War. October 7th. It's always unprovoked, and somehow, Israel is the bad guy.
Well, and just a week or two ago, Iranians shooting missiles into Israel. Yes, but somehow Israel is the bad guy. Look, I think the hatred of Israel. Now, anti-Semitism has been a problem throughout human history. For as long as there have been Jews, there have been anti-Semites. But I think at present, politically, hatred of Israel and hatred of America go hand in hand. And Israel is just a surrogate for America in these protests. We need to stand with Israel. And the Israelis, they really are one of the few military forces that have shown concern and respect, trying to minimize civilian casualties. But they need to do what they need to do to eradicate Hamas, because otherwise the future of their country is at stake.
Exactly right. All right, can you tell us a little bit about your campaign for U.S. Representative?
Yeah, we're really excited about the campaign. About a little over half of the 3rd Congressional District, the district that Blaine Luetkemeyer is retiring from, a little over half is in your viewers' listening area. And we're feeling really good. We are the early front runner. Our campaign is on all cylinders. We're getting around the district, which extends from St. Charles County out to Columbia and Boone County, down to the lake, and back to Jefferson County. So we're feeling very good about it. We're running a campaign to make America great again. We're running a campaign to make D.C. listen to the people and to problems that we grapple with, whether it be the invasion of our southern border, rampant overspending and socialistic policies of the Biden administration, or the war on affordable energy, that the wokeness and cultural decline and political correctness and gender ideology that plagues our school system these days. We're running to make America great again and to make D.C. listen, and I look forward to your viewers' support, your listeners' support on August 6th.
All right, and is there a website we can go to get all this information?
Yeah, it's BobUnderMo.com, and on Twitter and Facebook, Bob Undermo.
We have Joe Brazel coming up today at 10:41 to let us know what's happening at the St. Charles County Council. We talk to Mark Harder all the time. We're just trying to keep people up to date on what's happening locally, because that's where it all starts, right?
That's right. Joe's a good friend of mine. Together we fought the COVID tyrants. We've been trying to work on the problem of illegal immigration here in the region. Back in 2008, I passed the strongest state law in the country to fight illegal immigration. But we've also, while we work locally, we have to fix problems in Washington, D.C., because Joe Biden and Democrats letting 9 million illegals invade our southern border is really our biggest single problem today.
It's madness. It's just madness. All right, so the March for Life, am I saying that right? Is it the March for Life? Is that what it's called?
Yes, it's the Midwest March for Life. It's the lead sponsor would be Missouri Right to Life, but many pro-life groups are represented here. Runners for Life, Birthright, Thrive, pretty much every pro-life group you can name is represented here, and it's just really an exciting time. Look, we all knew that when Dobbs was decided, when Roe versus Wade was overturned, it wasn't the end of the struggle between the forces of life and the forces of death. It was just the beginning. That struggle will always be with us, and it's good to see so many people standing up for life here in Jefferson City today.
Senator Bob Onder, it's a privilege to have you here. It's a privilege to speak to you and, to know that, we can get to you and ask you some questions that people want the answers for. So we appreciate you there. And we also ask, don't forget us when you're a big shot U.S. representative, okay?
I will come on your show anytime. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. Senator Bob Onder, have a good time at the March for Life, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Thank you very much. God bless.
There's another guy just fighting for life.
That's
just
it.
Fighting for life. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's all it is.
Right?
That's what the Republic is meant to be, and that's what the conservatives want. Less government.
Right. A government who governs least governs best.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Big Wednesday today, thanks to that guy over there across from me. What's your name again? Ken.
We're a team,
Ken,
right?
But I wouldn't. If I can't without you, I'd have blank piece of paper. Hey, we're going to. I don't know. Joe Brazo, as I mentioned, 1041 today. We'll talk about what's happening at the St. Charles County Council. Tim Jones, the director of the Freedom Caucus, who I'm sure has some of the same views as Bob Onder. We'll see what Tim has to say about some of the nonsense going on college campuses. And let's not forget that Tim Jones spent time in New York City going to school there.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got a little insight on what exactly Hamilton Hall looks like and things like that. Stefan Padfield. I didn't know if a wish was coming or not.
I was going to.
Stefan Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research and the Free Enterprise Project at 941. And coming up next, it's the Bee or Not the Bee with Paul Curtman on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Wish.
Yeah!
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Thank you, Secretary Buttigieg.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Let me tell you what will improve the security, the beauty, the energy efficiency of your home. Durable windows from Window World. Mike Ferguson here, encouraging you to call them today, 314-993-1800. Window World uses a double-strength glass that has a lifetime warranty. In fact, that warranty covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Call them today. Find out what they can do for you. 314-993-1800. Once again, 314-993-1800.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
This National Center for Public Policy update brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
This is Larry Connors. Whenever I'm invited to be a guest on the Vic Porcelli Show with Ken Williams, I know it's going to be a great time, even when I'm not invited. Listen, you'll have some laughs. You might actually learn something, or not. Anyway, listen to Vic and Ken.
Did you put the sign up? No, Larry? No Larry Connors?
Yeah, right. He'd come in anyway.
Right. Like he doesn't know he can go on the show anytime.
Yeah.
All right, good morning and welcome to 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Hey, we got our show on a podcast. Anytime you want to if you miss something, you want to rehear something, just go to wherever podcasts are found and you can download it, you can subscribe to it, you can hit the notification thing, and we'll be there. All the shows, or you can watch the stream because, there's a lot of handsomeness going on here in this room, right?
Right.
Okay. Hey, Ken, we do you a favor?
Yeah.
Okay, you got the remote control. Can you put my favorite show's coming on? Can you put it on for me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
This is the city, St. Louis, Missouri. It was August 31st, 2023. It was a hot day in St. Louis. We were working day watch in the radio feature theft department. My partner's Williams. My name's Monday.
It's Friday!
Oh, right, my name's Friday. I carry a badge. We got a call from the world's smartest human, Paul Curtman. He said he got robbed. He got fried.
I watched so many Dragnet openings to make that.
Yeah.
And why he has to say it was a hot day in Los Angeles, or it was a cool day in Los Angeles. Right. I don't know what that has to do with solving crimes.
Right.
But, in this particular case, it was a hot day in St. Louis. Paul Curtman, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Doing great. Glad to be with you again.
We miss you, man. We really miss you. That Saturday show was always on my calendar, always watched it. And with all the craziness that's going on in the world right now, college campuses, the border, president that can't speak English, we just miss your commentary. So we're going to get a little bit of that after we play the game. Is that good?
Hey, sounds good to me.
All right. Are you ready to play the bee or not the bee?
Been waiting all month.
Whether that's true or not, that sounded great.
Yeah, it did.
Waiting all month to play this game. All right, headline number one is about Russell Brand. Russell Brand got baptized recently, just in the last couple of days. And the headline is, church leaders get Russell Brand up to speed on Christian theology with VeggieTales Marathon.
That's the Babylon Bee.
How about Russell Brand, though, man? He's just completely turned everything around. All right, headline number 2. New York City man opens fire on raccoon in broad daylight.
Not the bee.
That is not the bee.
Wow.
We're not so good here. Yeah, stop showing off.
You've been practicing,
Curtman, huh? Yeah. Okay, headline number 3. Clever college students figure out that it's not racist to call for the murder of all Jews if you just call them Zionists.
That is the bee.
That is the bee.
All right.
We made this too easy. A little girl in North Carolina said there were monsters in her bedroom wall. Turns out she was right.
Okay, I was waiting for some type of signal that there was some type of leftist hiding in the wall. This one's hard. I'm gonna say not the bee.
It's not the bee.
Wow, Paul.
But you know what's funny? The monsters in her wall were bees, so it was the bee in her bedroom wall.
It's a trick question.
Yeah,
it's a trick question.
It's a trick question.
Get it right and wrong.
All right, final headline. Hillary turns to husband for advice on attracting young, impressionable female voters.
Oh, that is the bee.
Yeah, that's the bee. Clean sweep for Paul Curtman.
Oh,
all right.
Man, all right. I've been waiting for a good clean sweep. I don't think I've ever had that before, so I'm feeling good.
Well, for the guy that made up the game, I mean, it kind of makes sense. And that's all the time we have for the bee or not the bee.
The bee or not the bee.
How's that? Is that good? Is that bee enough for you?
Oh, my God. I think you got me a little bit with that. All right, Paul, let's talk a little bit about what in the hell is going on in this country. I mean, this is just my theory. I have no scientific proof or anything, but I feel like the less the Today Show talks about a story about Donald Trump, the more it's better for Donald Trump.
You know, Donald Trump, this guy is an anomaly. I think there's going to be textbooks and psychology books and marketing books and any book you can think of. I mean, so long as the left doesn't continue to completely dominate the education industry. But there is so much to be studied about this man. And it used to be no news is good news, but for Donald Trump, it's always been any news turns out to be great news, and it's throwing him right back into the Oval Office.
Yeah, I agree with that. When these trials started, when the current trials started in New York, the Alvin Bragg case, every morning, it's top story on the Today Show. Trump's in trouble again. More legal problems for Trump. And now that that's not going so well, they talk about pandas from China and the royal family. So I'm like, what? Nothing going on? That must be good news for him.
Yeah, it probably is. But you know what? Even if they stop talking about him altogether, the American people are not going to forget. And if he hasn't already, Donald Trump, I mean, I'm just saying what I would do. There should be campaign T-shirts with his mugshot on them across the country because it's going to be a constant reminder of exactly why he is as popular as he is because he's the guy that managed to get in office and stand up and push back when nobody else would. And everybody in this country, not everybody, but people like us, we take it personal, and we take it as a personal favor for the way he's been able to push back. So news or no news, I think they've already done enough, and this is the man who knows how to use it and make it work.
Yeah, and I really feel like he's this country's last hope, and to use a phrase from a movie, the Great White Hope is Donald Trump. All right, let me ask you a question, Paul, if you don't mind. Where'd you go to college?
University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Okay. If you saw things at UMSL that are happening in Columbia, Ivy League schools, right? Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and also at USC and the University of Texas, of all places, and even Washington University here in St. Louis. If you saw these things happening then, what would go through your head?
Oh, man. What would be going through my head as a student is this is going to be the new normal. That's what would be going through my head as a student. As a parent, what would be going through my head is, are my kids okay? Are they safe? As a taxpayer, what's going through my head is, why haven't we completely defunded every one of these fake, rotten institutions and completely demolished them, leveled and completely razed every piece of ground that those buildings sit on, and sell that property and let the private sector actually start handling education, even at the highest levels? Because for students to be able to go to a college campus and be in fear for their life, for teachers to have to lock and barricade their doors, is a complete travesty. It is the highest degree of immorality for any institution in this nation. And to me, that is what we've been watching on TV, is every reason why we just need to completely let those institutions crumble to the ground without any government support at all.
I think any donor to these universities who happens to be a Jew, just withdraw all donations to these colleges. I mean, how could you not if you're a Jew, right?
Yeah, and you know what? When you see this kind of thing happening at some of these Ivy League institutions, there have been some huge billionaires, like some of these monolithic donors that have been given their money. They're alumni, their families gone to these schools, but they're Jewish. And so they started withholding their support. And I tell you what, for all these leftists that don't think capitalism works, it's funny how as soon as the money starts going away, they just start picking out people that they need to fire in order to bring that money back. Yeah. So they understand how this works. Yeah. They understand that money talks, and so they're trying to cover up by firing certain people in their administrations. But it's just not enough. And I don't think that people are going to forget that we have people shouting death to Israel and siding with the Palestinians after these October 7th terrorist attacks. And I mean, that kind of thing is just not going to go away. And I think that money's gone forever.
Election day creeps closer and closer. It seems so far away. Now it's just months away. And I think that I'm not saying any phrase that has the word red in it. Okay. I'm not saying red wave, red tsunami. What I am saying is more and more black voters are moving towards Donald Trump. More and more Latino voters are moving towards Donald Trump. And boy, if the Jewish vote is not going towards Donald Trump, then I don't know what to say to them anymore.
Well, it's been said for decades, liberalism is a mental disorder. And I think that we can see that, like, as a rule of nature. Like, whenever if you see an animal, like, right, if you see a deer with chronic wasting disease, and it's standing out in a field and it's just slamming its head down onto a rock because it's crazy, you would think to yourself, here's a deer that is sick. It is doing something that's undermining its own self-preservation. And when you see the left continue to fight for all these things that completely undermine our freedom and their freedom, you can't help but think they must have a mental disorder to be for all these things that completely take away their freedom. And we've seen this throughout history. This only goes one direction. It leads to starvation, and it leads to death, and it leads to violence and chaos. But that's where the left wants to take us with these ideologies and these philosophies that they're espousing, where? At these colleges and universities, like we were talking about a minute ago. And so where do we see it happen first? At the colleges and universities. So, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. And I think that there's people that have come from poverty-stricken areas of this world and from other countries that have fled in order to get here. And where do you see that? Among other places, among other demographics, the Latino population leaving places like Cuba. So these people don't have a mental disorder. They clearly understand what's at stake, and so they're moving to the left. They're moving to the right. They're moving right into that red zone.
All right. We'll end this on an up note. At Columbia University, the NYPD did an amazing job last night, making sure they get into Hamilton Hall and clearing that. But one police officer ripped down a Palestinian flag and then put up an American flag in its place.
Yeah.
I think America needs to see more of that, Paul.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they do. And, that's the kind of thing that makes you want to stand up and just salute somebody. And what a great thing to do. What a great thing for all these Americans that are sitting down at their TVs disgusted to be able to watch somebody do something like that. Just kind of helps reinforce the idea that, there are some people out there that are really trying to do the right thing, and they understand what's at stake, and they understand that our country is important, and that we need to put America first, and especially in America.
Oh, yeah. Hey, and Vic, I have to call Paul out a little bit because, he loves St. Louis and misses St. Louis, but when I called him down in Florida, I said, how you doing? He said, I'm enjoying the sun.
Whatever.
Hey. I enjoy the sun in Missouri, too, but right now I happen to be enjoying it from the shade of a palm tree. And it's great.
Paul Curtman, we really, truly do miss you here.
Yeah, Paul.
And give us the website of your business just so people can call you if they need you.
People want to find me, jump on my financial newsletter, prcurtman.com.
Fantastic. Until next month, Paul, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Paul.
I miss that guy a lot.
Yeah.
Paul Curtman was one of the first... When I heard him for the first time when we started this station, was the first time I said, how did I get this job? I'm listening to Paul Curtman talk. God, he's so smart.
Yeah, and then I got to produce for his show on the weekend for a little while, and man, it was just such a great experience with him. We just got along really well on the air, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's all right.
He's all right.
He's not great.
He's okay.
No, I'm kidding. He's great. Hey, how's everybody in Bowling Green this morning? What other towns are around there in Bowling Green?
Oh, man, Franklin County, everything. You've got just amazing area up there.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time up there, and wow.
They're 94.1 listeners,
Yes,
right?
they are.
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in this morning. We appreciate it. Coming up next, Levi Strauss, Pfizer, Goldman Sachs, and Cigna are facing some challengers from conservative shareholders. Remember those guys?
Yeah.
Stefan Padfield from the Free Enterprise Project will explain on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stigall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Whoosh. Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
On News Talk STL.
I could listen to this show if it was just you doing that stuff. 2 hours of just playing bumper music and putting stuff over it. Sounds great, Ken.
Thanks, Vic.
All right, so here's what woke companies like Levi Strauss, Pfizer, Goldman Sachs, and Cigna, they don't realize that some of their shareholders just might be conservative.
At least 50% of them.
How about that? They think everybody, it's that elitist egocentrism that we talk about. We're liberal, so all you shareholders must be liberal.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's not always the case. So let's talk to a guy who knows about that, Stefan Padfield from the Free Enterprise Project and the National Center for Public Policy Research. Stefan, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Am I right? These companies just think everybody's liberal like they are?
I think that's right, and it just reminded me. I used to be in academia, and I lost count of how many times somebody would come into the room, obviously a leftist, and talking to faculty members, and they would look around, and because they didn't see any open-mouthed droolers, right? They just assumed everybody was a leftist, and they would just start saying things like, "Well, we all know that Trump is the devil," or whatever, right? So I think there is really this elitism where these corporate managers and many others sort of aligned with them really think they can just ignore half the country. Now, fortunately, the pendulum is swinging. They're starting to wake up, and hopefully I'll get a chance to tell you a little bit about what we're doing to force them to, wake up to some of that reality.
All right, so there's three things that you guys are targeting. Do you want to do them all at once, or shall we do them one at a time?
Well, I can just flag them up front, and then we can pick what's most interesting. So the companies that you mentioned specifically, we basically have three types of proposal, one at each of them. And the first one that may be most resonating with your listeners is simply asking corporations to do an inventory of the risks created by their DEI programs, right? Their diversity, equity, and inclusion, which from a lot of perspectives, certainly including mine, basically just boil down to illegal discrimination on the basis of race and sex. So we're asking asking for basically a review of those policies and the risks created thereby. We've also got a proposal where we're asking, I believe this is at Goldman Sachs, what are the assumptions that underlie all these net zero commitments? It seems like every day we find out how costly and unrealistic and dangerous these commitments are. And have you just been getting all your data from the left? Because there's a lot of data out there that suggests these are problematic. And then the last one is one that we call a financial sustainability report request. All of these proposals, for various reasons, basically have to be in the form of a request. And what we did there is we basically reversed engineered a lot of the environmental sustainability proposals from the left, and we said, hey, what about all these partnerships that you're entering into, right? A lot of them being sort of radical transgender groups or radical Black Lives Matter organizations. How financially sustainable is it for you to just keep connecting with these groups and aligning with these groups? How about we do a little inventory of that, so to speak?
All right. Before we get into these liberal companies' response to some of the free enterprise projects notions here, let's get just one quick thing on net zero. Jennifer Granholm, I know I always bring her up, but I do not like this woman. It's got to be electric cars, right? We talked yesterday about Ford is losing $100,000 per electric car that they make. And so there will be, to use Trump's word, a bloodbath in the auto industry. But what about, I just learned yesterday, I guess I'm slow on the upkeep here, because I just learned yesterday that some guy 40 years ago made a car that runs on water, right? It separates the hydrogen from the oxygen, and then there's something that you put in your car that turns the hydrogen into energy and runs the car. That guy was murdered, by the way. And how about just planting some trees if you want less CO2 in the air? Sometimes they don't have to be so drastic with even their solutions.
I think that's exactly right. And, a phrase that often comes up in this area is crony capitalism, right? So there's sort of the hysteria that starts the ball rolling, and then when they decide which path they're going to basically force down people's throat in terms of the solution that they propose, they start looking around to, who the buddies are, right? And who's going to make the most money to buy into these various subsidies and so forth. And so not only is it problematic just in terms of its overall how unrealistic it is and how dangerous it is, but then the people that actually end up profiting, it just undermines any potential solutions we might have, right? Because everything that is forced down the throats of the economy through this sort of centralized planning basically pushes out other entrepreneurial alternatives. If we just let the market address the problem, that would be our best chance of coming up with real solutions, just like you mentioned.
The civil rights era in this country, I don't think the end game for anybody involved, Martin Luther King or LBJ or anybody else, was to make sure people get hired to jobs that they're not qualified for because of whatever reason, right? Their sexual identity, their color of their skin. And now doors are falling off of airplanes, and these DEI hires. Oh, biggest DEI hire, Karine Jean-Pierre in the press room, right? I mean, I don't think they had that in mind when the civil rights movement began. Do you?
No, I really don't. And when we talk about the costs of this, it's not, there's so many costs, right? But certainly one of them is, and we have a lot of people in our Project 21 network at the National Center that make this point repeatedly, is in addition to everything else that's problematic that you've mentioned, there's also this stigma that comes with it, right? So then the very qualified individuals who are quote-unquote diverse have this label slapped on them. Everybody questions, right? Did they get the job because they're satisfying some quote-unquote aspirational goal, right? Or did they earn it? And that in and of itself is problematic, not to mention just the utter victimhood mentality that it sort of forces on people, that the best thing you could probably do is completely the opposite, right? Which is empowerment and agency, and you actually have the ability to be successful and all those sorts of things. So yeah, it's the list of problems with these initiatives and how contrary it is to the vision of equality of opportunity. On some level, it's like shooting, what do they call it? Shooting apples in a barrel or something?
Fish in a barrel?
Fish in a barrel, right? Fish in a barrel, yes. The arguments are so facially problematic, and yet they just keep being trotted out, and they have a lot of, people behind them that are willing to just keep forcing them upon us.
And we're speaking with Stefan Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research and the Free Enterprise Project. And speaking of that, Stefan, I just want to know, when you go into these corporations, do they know what's up with you? Do they just feel that you're just one of the other people, until you actually corner them and question them?
How incognito are you?
Yeah.
My sense, and now I've only been at the Free Enterprise Project for just coming up on a year, so a lot of this, I'm sort of going through this whole cycle of the meetings and so forth for the first time, but it does seem like they're quite aware of us. And you do get a range of reactions, right? Everything from just outright hostility to sort of, like they're just tolerating us. And I don't want to exclude the possibility of at least some good faith engagement. There is some of that, but they definitely know who we are. I would say for the most part, if you go on, for example, the Harvard Corporate Governance Forum, which is a blog, we are like every week we're listed at least once as the top quote unquote anti-ESG shareholder proposal proponent, right? So people know who we are, and they are ready for us very much.
So you mentioned Project 21. We have a Project 21 person on at least every 2 weeks, if more frequently. And some of our faves, Donna Jackson, who's always testifying in front of Senate and House committees, and Melanie Collette. Is that her name, Melanie Collette?
Yeah.
We talk to her all the time, and I'll always say, Melanie, we didn't have you on because you're smart and you really know what you're doing. We just had you on because you're black. And she says, I knew it. She's so fun and playful. I absolutely love her. All right, so here's the thing, right? I mean, when you use a company, right? Let's take Levi Strauss, for example.
Yeah,
right?
They're a good one because they're ESG heavy.
Also, they've been around so long. I mean, I've been wearing Levi's my whole life.
I know. I haven't for a long time until I found out about it.
Well, I didn't know about that.
No, I know.
And I'm wearing Levi jeans right now, so I don't want to look like a great big lib. But you know what I'm saying? When you use these companies, then you're like, really? That's what they're all about?
Kind of looking like a lib right there, buddy.
Hey. But it's kind of a shock to the system, Stefan. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's right. I wish we could just go to the store and just buy the clothes that we like and not have to worry about whether our dollars are supporting these radical agendas. But unfortunately, that's where we are. And fortunately, it's getting easier to find out what companies are radical and what alternatives there are for you to put your money in better places. And I do think that the companies themselves, at least some of them, are going to have to course correct. Because again, this past summer is really when the tide turned, right? I would say until this summer with Bud Light and Target and Disney and all the shareholder value that was just destroyed, these companies really did think, as we started the show off with this point, that they could just completely ignore the half of their customers that were conservative. And those days are over. So we should see some course correction, but we do have to pay attention. That's unfortunately the price we have to pay to save our country.
And, talking about shareholders, how many shareholders in Disney lost money because Disney chose diversity over success?
Yeah, I mean, I think every week I see another takedown that breaks this down into shareholder dollar value, right, in terms of the problems. And you can look at sort of specific endeavors, right, movies that clearly the priority was some sort of radical leftist messaging and only like fourth or fifth on the list was actual entertainment, right, how they lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And so, that's something that the shareholders, I think, are waking up to. And these companies, you look at Disney, and they have a lot of assets that are useful and valuable, right? And so there's still a lot of hope, I think, that somehow you can turn this around with maybe not too much pain. But yeah, the examples of the shareholders, having value destruction. And I will say this, even if the overall stock price is doing relatively well, you have to ask yourself how much better it could have done, right? There's always opportunity costs. So it's not just did you do well or did you do badly, but how did you do compared to what you could have done? And if you weren't just setting money on fire with these woke movies every other week, right, how much better could you have done?
And that's what we talk about all the time. We talk about the fiduciary duty of these leaders to take care of these companies. And Stefan, I just wonder, going in there, do some of these board members, can you get a sense that they really don't care about the money so much anymore as it is being diverse and being DEI? I mean, that's the main thing now, right? I mean, do they give you that sense that it's more important to be DEI, conscious than being a capitalist, basically?
I mean, they're typically smart enough to say the right words, right, in response to various questions. Although I will say I continue to be shocked about how brazen they are about their discrimination on the basis of race and sex. It is quite, I mean, I just got off of, I believe it was the Pepsi general meeting this morning, right, annual meeting. And one of the sort of top 3 points that the CEO made in the introduction was about how they've got these, they call them aspirational goals, but they're basically race quotas, right?
Wow.
And so it's just amazing. Like even after the recent affirmative action case, they just keep doubling down. And I think the problem is that there's a lot of, I don't know, you want to call it just platitudes that get rolled out. Here's something I will say that is I consider fun. Maybe I'm just a geek, but when you get a proxy statement, right, as a shareholder, and nowadays you can just get the PDF, you can just search the PDF, search how many times the phrase shareholder value is used, and then search other things like ESG, DEI, stakeholder. I mean, it's a slam dunk. I did one recently. I forget the company off the top of my head. It might have been Planet Fitness, I think. ESG was like 19 times and shareholder value was once. And it just, that's really where you get to see the priorities.
We don't have time to get into it in detail, but maybe next time we talk, Stefan, and you'll never see an admission like this out of Pfizer, but AstraZeneca has said, yep, their COVID-19 vaccine can cause blood clots. So,
I saw that.
We've been saying that for 3 years, right. For God's sake. All right, Stefan, call us again, and we'll get deeper into maybe just the drug company, the big pharma work that the Free Enterprise Project does. Is that okay?
That would be great.
All right. At Project 21 News, at National Center, and the website, nationalcenter.org. That's my Dr. Bonner Cohen there.
Outstanding. Thank you.
You bet, Stefan. Thank you so much. We'll talk again soon. Ken, I just don't understand. If I were a shareholder in some of these companies, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm giving you my money, and I'm losing money. I'm supposed to be making money.
Yeah. That's why you have to go with guys like Paul Curtman and Stiefel and all those that support our station, because they're going to direct you in the right way.
Exactly right. All right. Freedom Caucus Director and our afternoon guy, Speaker Tim Jones. He's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now. Attention, City of St. Louis. Ready to reclaim your greatness? Join us for an evening with a champion of law and order, Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Awarded 2 Bronze Stars and having commanded over 300 troops on the front lines of Iraq, A.G. Bailey is the leader now fighting for our city. Have a question for A.G. Bailey? Get it answered straight from him this Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
I'm Rich Thomason. Anti-Israel protests have been cleared at universities in Los Angeles and New York, among other places. Police moved in at UCLA after violence broke out, while the NYPD handled protesters who had taken over Hamilton Hall at Columbia University.
To cheers, arrested Columbia students were driven away in buses, their hands zip-tied behind their backs. The police had moved in force, long lines in riot gear filing up a ladder into a second-floor window of the administrative building occupied by the students less than 24 hours earlier. They also took apart the encampment at the center of the campus, which for the past few weeks has become the focal point of protests that have spread to dozens of U.S. universities, with the total number of arrests nationwide now at more than 1,000.
The BBC's John Sudworth says dozens of arrests at Columbia. Do you have doubts about the media's coverage of the election? If you do, you have plenty of company.
53% of those who responded to the poll by the American Press Institute, the Associated Press, and the Nork Center for Public Affairs Research say they're extremely or very concerned that news organizations will report inaccuracies or misinformation during the election. 42% express worry that news outlets will use generative artificial intelligence to create stories. 47% expressed serious concern that news outlets would report information that has yet to be confirmed or verified, and 44% worry that accurate information will be presented in a way that favors one side. I'm Donna Warder.
Pressing his current Mideast shuttle diplomacy mission, Secretary of State Blinken in Israel has met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Watching Wall Street, the Dow's up 95 points, NASDAQ down 14. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Biden has started tracking Christians like cattle. Yes, you heard it right. He pressured banks to tag transactions for certain keywords. One of them is Holy Bible. That's a horrifying and creepy attack on our religious freedoms. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnau, a news analyst, a best-selling author, and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text faith to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text faith to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect your own prosperity.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A cold front moves in this morning, but it stalls across our area, so no push of cold air this time around. Another warm afternoon, highs in the low 80s. And with that front in the neighborhood, we've got to watch for some pop-up storms this afternoon and this evening. Nothing widespread, but if you get caught under one, be ready for a good downpour. Partly cloudy tonight, down to a mild low of 65. Warmer tomorrow, 87 for the high Thursday afternoon. Be ready for some rain and storms Thursday evening into Friday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, another big hour of stuff here that Ken Williams put together for us. We're going to wrap up today with Joe Brazel from the St. Charles County Council because we need to find out about, some of the other, our signal covers so much area here, So let's find out what's going on with the St. Charles County Council, and that's coming up with Joe Brazel at 10:41. 10:25, one thing I know for sure, we're checking the chat box.
Yes.
Maybe some other stuff too. But right now, though, I don't know about you, Ken, but I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane.
Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
All right. Former Speaker of the House, Director of the Freedom Caucus, and our very handsome afternoon guy, Tim Jones. How are you, buddy?
Well, I am very fine indeed. Gentlemen, good morning to you. And I have to thank you, first of all.
Yeah.
But I have to ask you for another favor. So remember a couple weeks ago? Yeah, I know. It's a heavy lift. It's tough being Vic Porcelli. I know. A couple weeks ago, remember when initiative petition reform was stuck in the House and Majority Floor Leader John Patterson was not moving the bill?
Yeah.
And he said he was not going to move the bill. And he said that on Monday afternoon. And then I went on the Vic Porcelli Show on Wednesday morning. And by Thursday, they voted the bill out of the House.
How about
And it's back in the Senate.
Awesome.
Well, we're happy to do a favor, but just remember that...
I know. I know.
And that day may never come. Consider this a gift.
I know how we people are. Yes. I know how we are. So Vic and Ken,
yes,
the initiative petition bill.
That's
the initiative petition bill. The bill that is designed to allow Missouri voters the choice as to whether or not they want to protect our Constitution from ongoing assault and attack by the out-of-state left-wing billionaires and their left-wing lunatic ideas like abortion on demand and gun grabbing our Second Amendment rights away and minimum wage increases. They've already done Medicaid expansion. They want to do ranked choice voting here. It's a parade of horribles, gentlemen. So the initiative petition bill, which has been just floundering around in the General Assembly for over 6 sessions now. I think this is at least the 7th session that it's been in the General Assembly in Missouri to protect our Constitution from ongoing attacks, to protect our Constitution from having abortion in a pro-life state like Missouri. They want to enshrine abortion in our Constitution, and not just any abortion on demand up to the point of birth. You know, sometimes if you ask Democrats, it's beyond birth. And if they can get away with it, they will do it. That's what's coming this year. So all of that, the stakes could not be higher because of the Freedom Caucus, because of StL Nation, because of all the movement conservative grassroots groups all across the state. That bill has gotten further along this year than ever before. And you know, we've been talking about it every step of the way. Senators have lost their chairmanships and their parking spots over it. Why doesn't Republican leadership in both chambers want to complete this bill? Why do they want to pretend to make it a priority every year and then have it fail in the last week of session? Well, because what I just described, initiative petitions in Missouri, ballot propositions to amend our Constitution, has become a multi-million, I was going to say cottage industry. It's a McMansion industry, right? There is tons of money flowing into rent a Republican consultant coffers and all sorts of other nefarious actors. Yeah, unfortunately, Republicans are guilty of this too because they're making money off of it. So when you're making money off of something, guys, you don't want it to change, right? You want to keep the status quo. This bill, SJR 74, which you all have helped me move throughout this entire session, got back to the Senate with 3 weeks to go. Further along than it's ever been. They couldn't use the excuse, oh, it's the last week of session, it's the last day, we don't have enough time. Oh, you know, if those guys hadn't filibustered. So 3 weeks to go. What would be it needs one more vote. It needs one more vote. It's in the Senate. It needs one more vote. After 7 years, 3 weeks to go, one vote. What would you all do if you were the leaders of the Senate and you had this hot potato sitting on your calendar ready to go with one more vote, and you know you have enough votes to pass it? What would you do?
Well, I don't know what Ken would do, but I would find the person that's going to make that vote and pay him a visit and say, you know, it'd be a shame if you voted the wrong way.
You would bring up the bill, right?
Yes,
you would bring the bill to the floor, right?
Sorry,
if you're the Senate Majority Leader, Cindy O'Laughlin. So here's the people we need to talk about today. If you're Cindy O'Laughlin, the Senate Majority Leader, if you're the bill handler, Mary Elizabeth Coleman, I know she's probably listening to our show right now. She listens to our station. She's been a guest on this station many times. She's a senator from Jefferson County, well within our listening area here of the mighty NewstalkSTL. You would want that bill passed, right? If you're Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman, and she styles herself as a big-time conservative, she's running for Secretary of State, right? So she wants to protect the ballot. She says she's 1,000% pro-life. So doesn't she want to prevent abortion from being enshrined in our Constitution? So if you're Mary Elizabeth Coleman, don't you go to Cindy O'Laughlin and you say, Senator, bring up my bill. Let's get this done. It needs one more vote. Guess what they did instead, guys?
What did they do?
Instead of going to that bill yesterday, teed up, ready to go, 3 weeks, lots of time. We can clear the decks of this thing, and then we're done talking about it because it goes to the voters, and we'll talk about it then when it's on the ballot, likely in August.
All right, maybe this will help.
They went to a gigantic $4.5 billion hospital tax bill instead of going to SJR 74. So the Freedom Caucus, Vic and Ken, is filibustering that bill because they're saying, let's go to 74 and vote on it and get it done. So I need everyone, once again, to call, email, hit on social media, Senators Cindy O'Loughlin and Mary Elizabeth Coleman. You can go to senate.mo.gov. You can find every way to contact them. Coleman is on Twitter. Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman, Senator Cindy O'Loughlin, senate.mo.gov. Pass SJR 74. Protect Missouri's Constitution.
All right, let's see if this can help a little bit too, Tim. Okay, I want you to expand on the abortion on demand that you mentioned, because if you say that to a lib that they want abortion on demand, they'll deny it. No, we don't want it. No, we don't want to kill babies after they're born. Can you expand on the real, true vision of the left on abortion on demand?
Yeah, don't take my word on it. Read the bill. They have a proposal right now. So speaking, the reason we want SJR 74 to pass now in the legislature is because it will then go to the voters. And we would hope that proposal would go to the voters in August, right? We have an August primary. We have a November general. So if the SJR 74 bill passes the legislature and goes to the voters, they can vote to make it harder to attack our Constitution with abortion on demand, with ranked choice voting, with gun grabbing, with all the leftist parade of horribles. The abortion industry, everything's an industry, right? The initiative petition industry, the abortion industry, the gun grabbing industry. This is what the left does with their Soros-funded schemes. The abortion industry wants to put a ballot question on in November. That's why we've been talking about decline to sign, right? Right now, they're running around paying signature gatherers who have no idea what they're doing. Some of these people have been stopped and asked questions about what they're asking people to sign. They have no idea. It's an abortion on demand initiative petition. They want to try to get that on the ballot in November. So we need SJR 74 to pass the legislature now to try and short circuit that effort in November. In the meantime, don't sign anything when somebody asks you to sign something. This abortion IP, this abortion initiative, it's of course being styled as nothing more than an effort to protect women's health care and to provide reproductive justice and safeguard reproductive rights. I would challenge everyone to actually read the language because, gentlemen, what it does is it destroys 50 years of pro-life protections that have been placed into Missouri law, courtesy of folks like me and Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman and Nick Schroer and many of the other people you hear on this station, Bob Onder, Bill Eigel, the people trying to fight to get SJR 74 done now. They're trying to prevent this abortion IP from passing. So there's a number of things we can do. We can decline to sign when the signature gatherers ask you to sign. They have to turn in their signatures this coming Monday. They're in the home stretch. We don't know if they have enough signatures or not. It'll be up to Jay Ashcroft to decide if all the signatures are turned in a timely basis and if they're valid. So decline to sign through this weekend. But then if it gets on the ballot, we're going to have to talk about what's really in that initiative. And Vic, to your point, what's in that initiative is basically removing all the pro-life protections that have been passed over the last 50 years in Missouri by Democrats and Republicans, because there used to be a bunch of pro-life Democrats. There's hardly any of them left. There's one or two. All of those protections will be gone, and Missouri will become an abortion-on-demand state, no exceptions up to the point of birth. That's what the proposal really says if you take the time to read it and understand it.
You know, we talked to Bob Onder this morning at the beginning of the March for Life in Jefferson City. And boy, there's a guy who walks the walk literally, right? He's at the March for Life. And I say that because he ran as a conservative and he is a conservative, as you are. However, I just want to ask you a question, Tim. Because this just dawned on me again. What is the deal with liberals hating kids? Right? Hold on. Right? Children, babies, kill them, no problem. Abortion after birth, no problem. Let them change their gender, yeah, no problem. Let boys play against girls, What do liberals have against girls? What in the hell? I mean, against kids. What's the deal?
Two things here, Vic and Ken. All you got to do is look back at the history of far left-wing progressivism. They are the purveyors of things like abortion on demand. Sanger, right? The left invented abortion and the abortion industry. So you look at eugenics, right? They believe that they believe, Vic, I'll go further. They believe humans are bad, okay?
Yeah.
Because we're destroying the planet every time we, start our vehicles or dare to even walk outside and breathe the oxygen. They believe humans are bad. They want to depopulate the earth. And in the meantime, they want to control birth rates. And if children are born, they want to control the children. Because, Vic, if you control the kids are easier to control than adults because kids are innocent.
Yeah.
And the left wants to brainwash them. And if you control the kids, then you control the next generation. Everything with them is about control. It's all about control. It's mind control. It's economic control. It's education control. It's energy control because they are on a quest for power. I don't know what happened to the happy hippie liberals of old. They're gone. And they've been largely replaced by these leftist, authoritarian, fascist autocrats.
And Vic, you and I have been on like this weird exact mainline mental thing going on because that's exactly what I was thinking. Tim, I was thinking originally, I thought, well, why do they care about kids? They don't care about them when they're born. After they're born, they just don't care, or they care so much about them, but beforehand they don't. But it makes sense, Tim. If they don't get them before birth, they get them after birth. And then
That's exactly right, Ken.
Yeah, if you survive being born,
right,
then we're going to take
right.
over.
It's a struggle every second of your life when you're a kid.
Right, with the Democrats. I'm talking about the left, and that's what we need to highlight is because they're so evil, and they really are evil.
Guys, you know how every accusation from the left is actually a confession? All of these dystopian, post-apocalyptic movies that Hollywood puts out. Hollywood, they think they are making these movies about Republicans, but it's not true, right? Republicans have never been, and are not the party of control. That's the left. So when you watch, like the Hunger Games or movies like that, what are all those movies about? They're about a small, elitist class of people that live in some magical, utopian, mythical city that would never exist, right? And they control the masses, right? They control the districts. They control all of us food gatherers. The Matrix, same thing. Terminator, same thing. Although they got rid of the liberals and the Republicans. They replaced them with machines. But so that's the problem with the left is eventually with the left. What the left doesn't realize is they are a self-defeating prophecy. That's what they're arguing for. Because ultimately, every time socialism has been tried on this planet throughout human history, it's always devolved into communism, which is that elitist control of the haves and the have-nots, the small oligarchical ruling class, and then all the proletarian peasants. It's gone from socialism to communism and eventually to abject oppression and death. Communism was the largest killer of humankind in the 20th century.
Hundreds of millions of lives, right, Tim?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So I just want to, you brought up Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger. Let's not forget that she didn't want word to go. This is her words, okay? We did not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Exterminate the Negro population. So if, it's like they want to tear down statues, right? And they want to, forget the past, erase the past. Well, here's another reason why you don't erase the past. Black people everywhere need to know that Margaret Sanger wanted them dead.
And she's the one who called them human weeds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The left, as I said, every accusation is a confession. It's what they're doing. The left is racist. Democrats are the original KKK. They are the original racists because, and this took a long time for them to evolve into this. The Democrats of old used to be, like I said, they used to be a lot more hippy-dippy liberal, right? They just believed, we'd like government to be a little bigger. But they have unfortunately evolved to the negative, and they've evolved into this authoritarian class of lunatics. That's what they're all about. They're all about control. They want to control every aspect of your life. They want to control where you live, what you live in, what you eat, what you drive, if you get to drive at all, where you're going to live. They want everybody to just be little bees in the hive, and they'll be the queen bees and the king bees, and they'll lord over us all. Yep. They believe that most humans are wastes of space and time, and that we're just all a bunch of proletarian, dirty peasants. That's what they believe in Washington, D.C., and unfortunately in most state capitals around the country.
All right. Tim, we're just about out of time, and I hate to do this to you, but that was a great conversation we had. But I want to get your reaction because you went to school in New York City, correct?
I did. So spent almost 10 years there.
Were you on any of these campuses that you're seeing in total chaos?
Yeah, again, I'm just shocked. I used to, I don't know if I ever went to Columbia. Columbia was, where is that, Vic? That's upstate, or not upstate. That's uptown, right, on Manhattan Island. I think it's in Manhattan, not the Bronx.
It is
but
Manhattan,
it's way at the northern end of Manhattan. I went through NYU. NYU is an urban campus. Kind of like SLU used to be. It's just, you don't even necessarily realize you're on NYU's campus. It's a lot of buildings and stuff, and it's in the middle of lower Manhattan. And again, back in the day, even in the 90s, right? New York, very liberal place. Always been, pretty much always. It's been a liberal place probably for the last 90 years, kind of like St. Louis. And you'd walk through NYU's campus, and again, mainly just hippy dippy granola crunching liberals, right? And so now to see what's happening now, I am shocked. I'm shocked and chagrined, as many might say. And it's disturbing to me because Vic, you know this, there is a huge Jewish American population on the East Coast, and especially in New York City. Can you imagine how terrified? So there's a ton of Jewish students that have got to be absolutely terrified right now. And I am ashamed for these kids. This is horrible. You're supposed to go to college to expand your horizons, have civil discourse and debate, agree to disagree, and move on. You're not supposed to be hate mongers and fear mongers and be promoting genocide of the Jews. Again, I thought it was never forget. I thought it was never let this happen again. And now you've got these, quote, liberal campuses who are actually propagating genocide, apartheid, and death. Yeah. When is the Democratic Party going to wake up? They're really going to be a party of yesteryear. Maybe thank God. But on the other hand, we need a vibrant two-party system. That's what the country's based upon. When are the Democrats who are controlling this party going to step up and say, enough with the anti-Semitic hate, enough with the pro-terrorist speech? There is a good side on this and a bad side, and the left is on the evil side.
Right.
And that's a bad place to be.
Do you know Lou Gehrig went to Columbia University?
Did he really? He's rolling in his grave.
Yep. And Dwight David Eisenhower was the president of Columbia University between the time he was a general and the president of the United States. And now look what happened. All right.
Amazing.
Speaker Tim Jones, you'll hear him this afternoon with Chris Arps in between 4 and 6 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much, man. We really rely on you every Wednesday. We appreciate you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate all you do. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tim.
Whoosh, my speaker.
Whoosh, my brother.
Right. Tim Jones. Lou Gehrig went to Columbia University. He was going to be an engineer.
Wow.
Just happened to be really good at baseball.
Became an engineer of baseball.
Yeah, boy, exactly right, Ken. Well put. All right, when we get back, I want to hear from somebody who is sick of the left, okay, and what the Democrats are intentionally allowing in this country. And we'll check the chat box. Promise. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Don't.
No! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You know, yesterday we were talking about, I think it was with Dr. Tobler, we were talking about RFK, and he's got some ideas that some conservatives like. Yeah. But let's not forget, he's coming after your guns, okay?
Yeah.
Just like every other liberal, they're coming after your guns. So we have, in case you didn't take a peek at the Constitution of the United States lately, we do have an amendment that affords us the right to own and carry guns. Okay, so Southern Armory is the place to get those firearms because they have the absolute best and largest selection of handguns, rifles, and shotguns from, big manufacturers and the best manufacturers, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff that you just can't beat. And it's not just firearms, it's ammo, gear, it's accessories, everything you need. They'll work with you to make sure that your purchase perfectly fits your specific needs. And those needs may be, hey, I want my first firearm and I want to learn how to use it and learn safety. Or if you're a collector and a marksman shooter, what the latest and greatest is in the world of firearms. You find all that at Southern Armory at 9901 Watson Road. They also have the Wise Food Buckets, 25-year shelf life on food. Never know if you may need that. Just go to southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on NewstalkSTL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. I've been thinking about that old saying, good fences make good neighbors. While we often focus on the negatives of division, it seems of late we've completely forgotten the benefits of boundaries. There seems to be this push for countries to be borderless, for rules to be bent even outright broken without consequence, for property to be commandeered, for privacy to be stripped, for constants to be fluid, for basic truths to be upended. We've seemingly forgotten where the boundaries of rights and responsibilities belong. Instead, we're treated daily to a deluge of blurred lines and shifting moral sands. And what's the inevitable result of that? Disorder. Chaos. We've come unmoored. I wasn't certain of the origins of this saying. It's attributed to Robert Frost's 1914 poem, Mending Wall, though it likely harkens back much earlier to an old proverb. Frost appears ambivalent about the notion, his narrator questioning its wisdom, even while the act of mending the fence between their properties brings the two neighbors together. But as with most dichotomies, I believe the answer lies somewhere in the middle. The balance struck between intrusion and isolation, between boundaries respected and community welcomed. The beauty of fences is the ability to see and speak through or over them.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Colombo and Katie.
A lot to talk about on Wednesday. We'll get you the latest on the criminal protests on college campuses, and we'll get you an update from Jeff City with just a couple weeks left in the Missouri legislative session from Rodney Boyd at 2:20.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Weird how?
Weird. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
In our time, there's still the old ghost of new garments. We all need to rise to meet the moment.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Walking that line.
Yeah, real close to that line.
All right. Good morning and welcome to it. It's 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Hey, I just said that. Number one for live and local conservative talk. All right, I want you to hear something, because this is your typical American who's just absolutely sick of what the left is doing.
What needs to be happening here is that black Americans and white Americans and Latino Americans are all getting together and saying, we're Americans and you're not going to with us. If they're Americans and you come here from your whole country and you with us, you're going to be dealt with. That needs to be the policy. Running up and down the streets, punching people, doing whatever the they want, beating up the cops, flipping the cops off. They divided us intentionally in 2020 so that this exact unity wouldn't happen when they did this. People are starting to figure it out. I love it, dude. I love it. People are starting to get it. It's Americans and then it's other people. It's not black, it's not white, it's not gay, it's not straight. It's Americans and then it's other people.
Yep. And I don't know who that guy is. I don't think he's even identified.
No, he's not, really.
But he's an American, and how Americans are feeling right now, whether the left and Nancy Pelosi and everybody else wants to think this is truly how Americans are feeling.
When I first heard this clip, I felt almost like I was saying something wrong, feeling that way. Because that's what they want you on the left, the Democrats, they want you to feel bad about being a patriot. They want you to feel horrible about enjoying other people's company who are not exactly like you, and you're still a conservative. That's what they do not want to get out, is the fact that that's the way conservatives think. We think, don't mess with me so much, and let's all get along. That's our philosophy in general.
Ken, that's brilliant. Do you want me to stay, or I should just
No,
go?
no, you're
That was really good.
Thanks, man.
That was really, really great. I should just go.
No, God, no.
You want me to stay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Can we check the chat box?
All right.
You pick Rumble or Facebook first.
Hey, let's do Rumble. We did Facebook
Rumble
yesterday.
first. Here we go. Duke gets us going. Good morning, all Patriot Vic heads. Chris says, good morning. Ed, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair election.
No peace.
No fair election.
No peace.
Lunch Lady says, I did contact Mary Elizabeth this morning.
Good.
Lunch Lady being proactive. That's what
right.
you got to do. You heard Tim Jones say, call Mary Elizabeth Coleman, call Cindy O'Loughlin, and call Caleb Rowden for that matter, too, and tell them how you feel. Because if you don't call, they're going to say, you know what, guys, we're doing a great job.
Yeah, exactly right.
Everybody's happy with us.
And, Tim, congratulated the show for helping out, but the listeners are the ones helping out.
Yeah, they're all right. They're not as good as us. No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. You know that. All right. She said she's doing everything she can to pass IP reform. Huh. She got right through to Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's awesome.
All right. Over to Facebook we go. Good morning, ladies, gents, and gentle cats. Good morning, Vic heads. Good morning, Wednesday morning. Scooter's in the box today.
Scooter is.
Scooter.
Yeah.
Scooter Van Duken. Scooter Van
right.
Stuker. Okay, hold on to your hats, okay? He says, by the way, he calls me Mr. P, Ken Mr. W. Does Mr. P, because Vic is not good enough, right?
Right. It's easier to say Mr. P.
Less syllables, just
Vic.
Vic is easier.
Right.
And less keystrokes by one, right? Mr. P is Mr. And then, the period after Mr. and the P, that's 4. Vic is just 3. Anyway, he says, does he really believe, are you ready for this, Ken? That KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, is a DEI hire?
Do I really believe that?
That's what he's asking you, Ken.
Oh, from the
Actually, he's
bottom of
asking-
my heart.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
when she was brought out to replace Jen Psaki, that was the whole thing. First black woman, first black lesbian woman, first black immigrant lesbian woman. That's not a DEI hire? You tell me. I could give you 50 people who are in 3rd grade who could do better than what she's doing.
If I looked up and saw a DEI poster, it's a DEI on the top of it. Guess whose picture would be on it? That would be Karine Jean-Pierre. She fits that profile so perfectly because she of course checks all the boxes, but Vic, she also is just dumb.
She is.
And she's in one of the highest positions in the government.
And Scooter says, well, how about Dr. Carson?
What about him?
He's like best brain surgeon in the world.
No, he's not a DEI hire.
That's what I'm saying. He's saying that he is.
No, why? No, why?
If we can say that Karine is, we have to say that Dr. Ben.
No, Scooter,
Wait. There's more Scooter.
Oh my God! This one real quick is just because he's black doesn't mean he's a DEI. That's kind of racist.
That
Scooter.
is, Scooter. You're a racist.
That's a little
man.
racist, dude.
So Are you done?
No.
We were talking to Stefan Padfield earlier today.
Right.
And I brought up that Disney has chosen diversity, DEI, ESG over success for their shareholders.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. So Scooter says, if you bought Disney stock a year ago, you made $30 per share. This is like saying, well, inflation was at 1% when I took office, and then I made it go to 9%. But look, I brought it back down to 3%.
Right.
So Disney, Scooter, just so you know, I love how you framed your little thing there.
Yeah.
In a year, let's go back to March 19th of 2021, the height of wokeness and DEI and diversity. Disney's shares were $191 a share.
190. Wait a minute. 191.
$191 a share.
Wow. Okay.
October 20th, 2023, went down to $82 a share.
Are you? Oh my! That's
over $100.
That's over $100 a share.
So then Scooter says, but if you bought it in the last year, you made $30 because from in between then, October 13th of 2023, it went from, it went down to 79 and then up to 114 where it's at right now. But you still lost a ton of money.
And the way shares work, if it came back to 191 even, you'd still have lost money because of the previous amount.
You don't even break even.
You don't even break even. Scooter, you really have to study that a little bit.
You really do, man.
Don't post that.
Don't try to do these tricky words. In the last year, $30. So no.
But that's a typical left-wing response.
That's right. You're right. Jason Haiti. He says, I love that Tim Jones is calling people out by name. Do that exact thing, even if it's uncomfortable for you. Even if that person has had your back.
It is uncomfortable sometimes, Vic.
Especially the have your back part. Had your back at one point, right?
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman, Cindy O'Loughlin. I'm sure they had, their backs at one point, not anymore. He also goes on to say, really making a point to say her name. We're talking about Mary Elizabeth Coleman and Cindy O'Loughlin. When my perception is sometimes we beat around the bush, and I hope it's done fairly.
And that has to do with SR-71.
SJR 74. Actually.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I wrote it down when Tim said it.
SR-71. Isn't that a plane? 74.
This is the most important entry in our chat box this morning, Ken.
Yeah.
It's from Steve Gross.
Okay.
And Steve says, can someone provide or tell me where to find a good, clear, brief, bullet point summary of the abortion IP language that I can carry around with me and or distribute? How do we do that?
If anybody knows that, we'll have to look into it. We'll have to look for it. And if anybody else can help us too, our listeners are incredible in this. Do so.
We talked to two guys who may be able to do it, Bob Onder and
Tim Jones of course.
Today.
That's what I mean. We'll contact them and try to find it.
That is a great point. And if everybody can do that, get a good, brief, bullet point summary of what the abortion IP language is, carry it with you, and when people like Scooter say something to you, you can bring it out and say, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Disney graph would look like, but maybe it's closer with the same. We lost 11 million jobs immediately and taking credit for climbing back. That's exactly what I said, Jason. You're right on, baby. Head with a Y. You heard me say, is it Heady, Heady? It's Heady. It's head with a Y.
With a Y.
Jason.
Okay, Heady.
Thanks, Jason. We appreciate it. All right. So what in the heck's going on in St. Charles County and their county council? Huh?
Yeah.
Well, Joe Brazel happens to be on the county council in St. Charles, and we'll talk to him next on 101.9 and 94.1. Number one for live and local conservative talk. You got that right.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
45, President Donald Trump.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's NewstalkSTL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking with Randy Tobler, Dr. Randy Tobler.
I think that it's gotten to the point where everyone has so much dirty laundry, where everyone just sort of covers and they don't want to really expose. They don't want to dig too deep. I won't get too close to your armpits and smell them if you don't get too close to mine, to put it in a very crude way. But I think that makes the point.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. In getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality, American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At STLFenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
Fox News commentary.
Pro-terrorists mounted an insurrection on Columbia University. I don't want to hear another word from liberals or liberal media about January 6th. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Refusing to comply with the order to disband their encampment, campus pro-Hamas delinquents seized the Hamilton Hall building at Columbia University. For their act of insurrection, they face expulsion, which given their actions, the punishment does not fit the crime. Occupying, barricading, and vandalizing private property, that's Columbia. Barring Jewish students from entering their classrooms, that's UCLA. Defacing statues, that's GW and Harvard and USC. What do all those campuses have in common? They are in blue states run almost exclusively by Democrats. All of this could be ended immediately if law enforcement was allowed to haul these babies out one by one by their ears and throw them in jail. No more performative arrests, apply real consequences, and the precedent will be set. Or move to a red state like Florida where this crap is not tolerated. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You're funny. Well, I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh? What do you mean funny?
On News Talk STL.
Why should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building, now would you please bring us food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food?
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop it violently.
They haven't stopped it yet.
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
And
The best defense is facts, right?
Yes.
Drastic much? Do you hear this girl? Like a glass of water.
Right.
Because I'm dying of thirst. And then she dared to use the word humanitarian? Humanitarian? Who kill the Jews? Oh, that's humanitarian. That's great.
Yeah, she's making it sound like they're in Gaza.
She does.
It's such a joke.
She makes it sound like there's bullets flying over her head, and I can't even get a glass of water. Humanitarian. That was the one word that jumped out on me on that whole thing. Was they should, in a humanitarian way, give me a glass of water. I'm like, how about in a humanitarian way, you stop saying kill the Jews? How's that sound?
Yeah, but she's standing there acting like they've been fighting them and closing them off from all kinds of activity, including food and water.
Exactly, Ken. She makes it sound like she's got her hands zip tied behind her back, right? Her mouth taped, blindfold around her head, a hood over her head, and being walked to go get waterboarded.
And then when they say something, and when they ask her the actual question, she can't say. Listen to this.
Stop it.
But they haven't stopped it yet.
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
And
Vic, she's claiming that, okay, that we want to make sure that they don't obstruct and stop us from getting food and water and, make it real dangerous for our students.
Is that what they've done?
No.
We're looking for a commitment.
Right. Have they done that? And she goes,
we're looking for a commitment.
No, but,
And then her ace in the hole is the vocal fry, right?
Yes.
Well, I just want a glass of water. That's all I want is a glass of water.
Listen to my voice. I need a glass of water.
I have vocal fry, so I need a glass of water so I don't sound like I'm talking on NPR. Okay. Joe Brazel apparently can't be with us.
Let me try one more time.
Yeah, give him a shot.
Okay.
Meanwhile, here in St. Louis County, our friend Mark Harder, who has been on the county council for a long time, of course, and with us all the time. See, what we were trying to do was we're up to date on the county council, St. Louis County Council. We wanted to get updated on the other county councils around the area, St. Charles and Franklin County and Jefferson County, and get some people on there. So Joe Brazel was going to be our first experiment in that. And, if we can't get him, we'll get him on maybe later in the week. And then Mark will be back with us next Wednesday and get more updates from the St. Louis County Council. So Ken got a text from Mark Harder that said we passed funding for the senior tax freeze tonight. So that big discussion about seniors and the tax freeze for seniors, it was a divisive issue somehow, wasn't it? The senior tax freeze was divisive. I mean, you get
I don't
people.
know why, but.
Well, David Stokes and I went at it pretty good about this topic.
Yeah.
And I think he had some good points, and I think I had some good points. One of which was, this is not fair to a new couple just getting married, young couple getting married, who don't make a lot of money yet, but seniors get the tax freeze. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. A young couple has so much potential for more money making.
Right.
Right? Raises in their career, bonuses, extra added curricular activities that they may do. There's plenty of additional income that can be made by a young couple, and seniors are on what they call a fixed income.
More often than not, yeah. They've worked through that whole thing through their whole lives and contributed through their whole lives.
And the phrase fixed income sometimes goes by the board. Fixed income means there's no additional dollars besides whatever dollars they have right now, or Social Security, or any pension or anything like that they may have.
And they're supposed to get a cost of living raise, I guess, with a fixed income, but it's nothing where it should be.
Right.
For example, if you have with the Biden administration right now, their inflation rate is 3 point whatever it is now. Well, they get a 1.2 cost of living increase. That's not going to do anything for them.
So the cost of living is rising faster than the cost of living increase.
Right.
And that's what's keeping them,
Exactly.
All right. So that got passed last night. And hopefully in a few months, they can start to collect applications. Long time coming. Well done, Mark Harder. We also passed $40 million for subdivision street work in unincorporated St. Louis County. So it was a good day. He said it was a good day.
Hey, look who's on TV.
John Kennedy.
Being perpetuated by Republicans. Democrats seem to be able to do it without consequence. That's point one. Point two, we shouldn't paint with too broad a brush. Some of our universities have done a good job. I'll mention three. Vanderbilt, Tulane, and the University of Florida. They have done a good job in dealing with this rule by the mob because of their leadership. The presidents of those three universities are passionate advocates of free speech. They understand that the Constitution protects free speech against government, but it does not protect disruptive behavior.
That is Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. He's got great points there.
Yeah.
Because different colleges took different steps to protect their students,
Yeah.
And the three that he mentioned, Vanderbilt, Tulane, and University of Florida, I think you put University of Texas in there too. They did a pretty good job at squashing things. But I think that when it comes down to these particular riots, can we call them a riot?
Yeah, I mean,
is it fair?
I think it's fair because they're threatening people and they're actually doing much damage to property. So yeah, call it a riot.
And I think that Tulane and Vanderbilt and University of Miami and University of Texas has a much, I'm guessing now, okay, less Jewish population than Columbia or City College of New York, CCNY, or Harvard, or Fordham now. They're starting to form in Fordham. Many Jewish people, as Tim Jones mentioned with us, a lot of Jewish people in New York, in New York City and New York State. And it's not fair that people in this country, we're talking about America, we're not talking about Germany in 1933, we're talking about America in 2024. It's not fair that Jewish students or Jewish people in general should live in fear. Because guess what? In Germany in 1933, they lived in fear. And I thought we were going to never forget.
You never forget. Well, apparently Donald Trump never forgot. He got the Abraham Accords going.
He put
the embassy in Jerusalem. Okay, Donald, there was peace. Do you remember when he was up on stage with an Israeli and an Arab at the time, and they were shaking hands.
This is during the Abraham Accords.
This is during the Abraham Accords with President Donald Trump.
I have not heard the phrase Abraham Accords out of the mainstream media ever.
No.
Not even when it was happening. I didn't hear it.
And why is that, Vic? Why do you think that is?
I have a better question for you. Why do you think it is that we don't even see it on supposedly conservative news channels and stations?
Are they conservative, though? Are they really conservative?
What they're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be? Well,
at least an answer to the left-wing mob media. At least an answer. If not conservative, at least an answer to it. And why aren't they mentioning the Abraham Accords? We mention it on this show.
I talk about, being jaded and about the media these days. I left Fox News a long time ago. I
didn't know you worked at Fox News.
No, I mean,
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just an idiot. I'm sorry.
That was good. But Greg Gutfeld's still on there, and so is Jesse Waters, and there are a couple people that I really enjoy in there. But I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch Fox News because of them.
I like Jesse a lot. I really do. And he's a Bill O'Reilly protege all the way.
Oh, yeah.
And if you
can
watch
tell.
him, same kind of cadence.
Yeah.
Likes to interrupt during the interviews. The hand gestures that he makes are so Bill O'Reilly, which is fine. He learned from Bill. That's fine.
That's right.
But I think Jesse does a great show, and I love the Gutfeld show. So it's the part in the middle, which is Hannity, unfortunately, that I have to sit through to get to Gutfeld.
And the most disappointing couple is the Arizona couple, Martha McCallum
Arizona
and
Twins.
Brett Berry, the Arizona Twins. I mean, that was just so disappointing.
You know, that's a great point, Ken. Let's talk about that for just a second while we have another minute or so left. This year is the first presidential election since then, what you're talking about. And what
Right.
Ken's talking about is Brett Baer and Martha McCallum called Arizona for Joe Biden way too early, I
Like
thought.
about 7:05.
When the thing on the bottom said Trump was ahead,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So, and I just thought it was way too early.
A lot of people
you
did.
thought it was way too
Well,
early.
A lot of people did, yeah.
So I wonder what their tone is going to be this year when they're calling states for one candidate or another. Because if they do it again, I swear to God, I'm going to drive to New York, slap them both in the face, and then drive home.
It's going to be interesting to watch a lot of different things happening with all the media. And the good thing about this time around, though, Vic, think about this. All of our listeners, and ourselves included, we have an in now. We know what's going on behind the scenes. We know that all this stuff took place. And it's a fact. There was documented fact that there was cheating going on. There were nefarious things happening to make Joe Biden win this election. There were.
And trickery in what they say, you know? And I go back to, our chat box and this guy Scooter, who clearly is a lib, the dishonest way that he represented Disney's stock by saying, well, if somebody bought stock in Disney a year ago, they made $30 per share. But it went from, what did we say? I don't even remember.
It was 191 to 8, dropped to 82 from 191. So, yeah, you may have in the last year made 30, but you lost about 80.
Right.
So,
Right. And that's the way the left forms things. They form things in a devious, I don't know what the word I'm thinking of is because I have no brain left whatsoever, but it's just, I don't know, it's just dishonest. So listen, I really think that we had a good, important show today, Ken. I really do.
A lot of information, yeah.
Bob Onder, right in the thick of the March for Life in Jefferson City, took the time to call us, do the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
Love it.
And then, told us exactly what's going on down there in Jefferson City and the things we need to do to get our state back. And while we're at it, let's make America great again. We played the Be or Not to Be with Paul Curtman, yes. But then after, when we had the discussion with him, more great stuff from Paul Curtman.
Yeah.
I miss that guy a lot. Stefan Padfield was great. Tim Jones is great. And I just thought it was not just a fun show, but an important show, which I believe is almost over.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then, thank you for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
And Dan Bongino is coming up next. Have a great day. Kenny and I will see you tomorrow morning at 9. We'll do it all over again on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
A lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare. And that's MediShare. You get Both. Many families save $500 a month switching to Medishare, and that's huge. But it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medishare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. And that's because Medishare works. It's been around for more than 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Protesters chanting during arrest by police at New York's Columbia University. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said about 300 people were arrested at Columbia and City College in police crackdowns. The police seeing more and more involvement in the university protest across the country. Meanwhile, the U.S.'s top diplomat pressing home a call for a Gaza ceasefire.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel for meetings with Israeli leaders and has told the country's ceremonial president that the time is now for a ceasefire deal in the war in Gaza.
Even as we're working with relentless determination to get the ceasefire that brings the hostages home, we also have to be focused on people in Gaza who are suffering in this crossfire of Hamas's making.
Blinken's visiting Israel for the 7th time since the Israel-Hamas war broke out. He's trying to advance a truce that would free hostages held by Gaza's Hamas militants in exchange for a halt to the fighting. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Also at townhall.com, U.S. job openings slid in March to the lowest level in more than 3 years, but stayed at historically high levels, and a sign the job market remains resilient in the face of higher interest rates. The Labor Department reported employers posted 8.5 million vacancies in March, down from 8.8 million in February. Donald Trump will use a one-day break from his New York alleged hush money trial to rally voters in the battleground states of Wisconsin and Michigan. The visits come a day after he was held in contempt of court and threatened with jail time for violating a gag order. Stocks are mixed. The Dow had 107 points, but the NASDAQ losing 98. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-256-5533. That's 800-256-5533. 800-256.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A cold front moves in this morning, but it stalls across our area, so no push of cold air this time around. Another warm afternoon, highs in the low 80s. And with that front in the neighborhood, we've got to watch for some pop-up storms this afternoon and this evening. Nothing widespread, but if you get caught under one, be ready for a good downpour. Partly cloudy tonight, down to a mild low of 65. Warmer tomorrow, 87 for the high Thursday afternoon. Be ready for some rain and storms Thursday evening into Friday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Attention, City of St. Louis. Ready to reclaim your greatness? Join us for an evening with a champion of law and order, Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Awarded 2 Bronze Stars and having commanded over 300 troops on the front lines of Iraq, A.G. Bailey is the leader now fighting for our city. Have a question for A.G. Bailey? Get it answered straight from him this Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Here's your chance to help build our community while building your career. This is Officer Jacob Boomgarden with the Springfield, Missouri Police Department. Becoming a police officer is one of the best decisions I've ever made. Every single day, I have a chance to impact someone's life in a positive way. When my shift ends, I know I've made a difference. And you can too. Our next training academy starts soon. Get more information at gospd.com. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
I am an atheist.
I really am a liberal.
But I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side.
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
No matter your inclination.
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
We are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
Great job. It is. I talk for a living. A lot of you have I had a real job once, and this isn't a real job anymore. But a lot of you out there don't see what I see, and I'm glad you don't. Because when you're immersed in this every day, I've seen this really, really dark strain, folks. There is something, been addressing it over the course of the last few days. There is a really dark spiritual fight going on right now. I can't explain it. I'm not your priest or your shaman or anything like that. I don't understand what it is. It's whatever that spiritual energy is, but these demons are real, man. There's something out there. You can just feel it. It's not based in anything. There are no principles behind it. It's just people doing things because it causes other people pain. You see it everywhere. And while I expect the left to co-opt the Kill the Jews crowd and use them, like little obedient Nazis, Well, I expect the left to do that. There's some people out there trying to hijack our brand too. And they got to go. They're not welcome. They're not you. They're trying to be you. They're trying to hijack our brand. Don't let them do it. Folks, we're in a dark time. And the ability to see dark from light, good from bad is probably the most powerful marker of social IQ. These people are out there, and there's not just a few of them. We're different. Our movement is different. We stand for something. Expecting AOC or Ilhan Omar or Bernie Sanders or any one of these little commies out there to condemn the Nazi kill the Jews crowd is insane. Of course they won't do it. There's political benefit and power to be sucked out of them because of their organizing capabilities. The fact that they want to do evil, immoral things in the spiritual fight doesn't mean anything to them. They don't care. They're about power first. But that's not us. We stand for something. We're conservatives. We're about conserving the best parts of the American project and the Republic. And the best parts and the parts that matter most. And that tip of the spear of liberty and freedom are those God-given rights enshrined in that Constitution. Folks, we're living in a country right now where there's a separate, apparently Jew entrance on the UCLA campus. You know this? You think I'm messing with you? You know what, Jim? Cue up that phone call. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here. It's just in case you think I'm making this up. This is 2024 in the United States. Conservatives passionately defend this Bill of Rights and the capital G God-given rights. Those rights aren't granted to you by the state, granted to you by God. They just found their way onto a piece of paper and are supposed to be protected by the state, a state that was once a constitutional republic, is no more. But we're living in a country in 2024 right now where there's a separate entrance for Jews on a UCLA campus. Are there water fountains too? What about armbands? Are we segregating the classrooms too? Is there the Jew side and the non-Jew side? Is that what? Oh, you think I'm making this up? Here's a phone call from a mother whose child happens to be Jewish, who is apparently not allowed to enter through a specific entrance on the UCLA campus. Not because the campus said so or the cops, because the Kill the Jews crowd said so. This is 2024 in the United States. And you got people hijacking our brand, aligning with this? Nah, man. Nope.